My stepfather moved his mistress into our house and gave her son my bedroom at 17. Now they need my legal expertise to save that son from prison. At 17, I came home from school to find my belongings in garbage bags in the garage. My stepfather's mistress's son was moving into my bedroom with a brand new gaming setup. My mother stood in the hallway and said nothing. I'm Dylan, 28M, corporate defense attorney at a top law firm. I specialize in white-collar crime defense. I charge $500 an hour. Last week they called asking me to represent that same son for free because we're still technically family. Let me tell you exactly how I stopped being family. My dad died when I was 7. Car accident on Route 9, head-on collision with a drunk driver. The kind of death that doesn't give you time to say goodbye. My mom remarried when I was 11 to Eli Grant, owner of a mid-sized construction company. For 6 years we were functional. Not warm but stable. I had my own room, did well in school, stayed invisible and out of the way. When I was 17, Eli met Holland Price at a construction industry conference. She had a 15-year-old son named Cassidy. They started an affair. I found out because I came home early from basketball practice one Tuesday and heard them upstairs, in my mother and stepfather's bedroom, the headboard hitting the wall. A woman's laugh that definitely wasn't my mother's. I told my mom that night while she was making dinner. She was chopping vegetables and her hand stopped mid-cut. Are you sure? I heard them. I saw her car in the driveway when I came in, a silver BMW. She set the knife down, stared at the cutting board. Don't tell anyone else about this. Mom, he's cheating on you. I know what it is, Dylan. Her voice was flat, dead. We can't afford a divorce right now. The house is in his name. My name isn't on the business. If we split up, I get nothing. So what, you're just going to let him? I'm going to survive. That's what I'm going to do. And you're going to keep your mouth shut about this. I kept my mouth shut. For 2 months, I watched my mother pretend she didn't know. Watched Eli come home late with obvious lies about work dinners. Watched my mom get quieter and smaller every day. Then one Tuesday in October, I came home from school to find all my belongings in garbage bags stacked in the garage. The door to my bedroom was open. Inside, Eli was setting up a massive gaming desk, new ergonomic chair, 3-monitor setup, RGB lighting strips being installed on the walls, a stranger's stuff going into my closet. What's happening? Eli didn't look at me. Holland and Cassidy are moving in this weekend. He needs the bigger room for his setup. I stood there processing those words. Moving in. Your girlfriend and her son are moving into our house. She's not my girlfriend, she's my partner. And yes, they're moving in. Your mother and I discussed it. Does Mom even have a choice? His jaw tight. This is my house, my name on the deed. I make the decisions about who lives here. Where am I supposed to sleep? There's a pull-out couch in the basement, or you can find other arrangements. You're almost 18 anyway, time to start figuring things out on your own. I found my mother in the kitchen staring out the window at nothing. Mom, did you know he's moving them in here? She didn't turn around. Yes. And you're okay with this? Okay with it, she laughed, but there was no humor in it. No, Dylan. I'm not okay with my husband moving his mistress and her teenage son into my house. But what exactly do you think I can do about it? Leave him, get a lawyer, fight for what's yours. Fight with what money? I make $42,000 a year as a bookkeeper. He makes 10 times that. His lawyer would bury me. I'd end up with nothing, living in some apartment I can barely afford, starting over at 51. So you're just giving up. I'm surviving. You'll be 18 in 7 months. You'll go to college, start your own life. I'm the one who has to live with this for the rest of my life. Don't make it harder by fighting battles I can't win. What about me? Where do I fit in this survival plan? She finally looked at me. Her eyes were empty. You'll be fine, Dylan. You're smart. You're resourceful. You'll figure it out. That's when I understood. I was collateral damage in her surrender. She was choosing the house, the security, the illusion of marriage over her own son. Holland and Cassidy moved in that weekend. My mother put on makeup for the first time in weeks and played hostess. Welcome to our home. Let me show you where everything is. Like this was normal. Like we were blending families instead of accommodating adultery. Cassidy unpacked his gaming setup in my old room while I watched from the doorway. He looked up once. "Oh, you're the stepson, right? My mom said you're going to college soon anyway, so the room won't be wasted on you." I slept on the basement couch that night. It smelled like mildew and old carpet. The springs dug into my back. Above me, I could hear footsteps. Eli and Holland in the master bedroom directly above. My mother had moved into the guest room down the hall. Cassidy was gaming in my room, the RGB lights visible through the basement door gap until 2 a.m. I lay there in the dark doing math in my head. 7 months until graduation. Then college 3 hours away. I just had to survive 7 months. My best friend's mom, Mrs. Archer, heard what happened through the school grapevine. Small town, everyone knows everything eventually. She called me on my cell. "Dylan, honey, I heard about what's happening at your house. We have a spare bedroom. It's not much, but it's yours if you want it." I took my garbage bags and left that Friday night while they were all having dinner. Didn't say goodbye, just walked out the front door and never went back. My mother called me 2 weeks later. "Are you settled at the Archers?" "Yes." "That's good. You should come to dinner sometime." Holland actually makes amazing lasagna, and Cassidy is really interested in computer programming. You two might have a lot in common. I hung up without answering. I worked 3 jobs my senior year. Morning shift at a diner, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. before school. Afternoon stocking shelves at a grocery store. Nights doing data entry for a small medical billing company, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. I studied on my breaks. Slept 4 hours a night. Graduated valedictorian with a 4 GPA and a full scholarship to State University. My mother came to graduation alone, took one photo with me outside the venue. "Your stepfather is very busy today, but he's proud of you. We all are." I didn't ask where Holland and Cassidy were, didn't care. "Mom, when I leave for college, I'm not coming back for holidays." "Don't be dramatic, Dylan." "I'm not being dramatic. I'm telling you what's going to happen. You made a choice, I'm making mine. I did what I had to do. You let him move his mistress into our house and kick me out of my bedroom. You chose a house over your son. That's the choice you made. Live with it." I left for college that August. Blocked my mother's number. Blocked Eli's. Started over in a place where nobody knew about the basement couch or the garbage bags or the gaming setup in my old room. I studied political science and pre-law. Worked campus jobs to cover what scholarships didn't. Applied to law school. Got into a solid program with enough financial aid to make it possible. Law school taught me something important. The law is just organized documentation of who owes what to whom, who has power, who doesn't, who gets protected, who gets abandoned. I specialized in white-collar criminal defense because I understood financial crimes intimately. I understood what it felt like to be powerless while other people made decisions about your life based on money and property and convenience. But more than that, I understood entitlement. I understood people who took what didn't belong to them and convinced themselves they deserved it. People like Cassidy, who took my room and acted like he was doing me a favor. By 26, I made junior partner at a top regional firm. By 27, full partner. By 28, I'm billing $500 an hour and earning every penny of it. I win cases other lawyers won't touch. I defend executives accused of embezzlement, CFOs charged with fraud, entrepreneurs facing federal crimes. 10 years of no contact. I assumed they'd forgotten I existed. Then last Tuesday, my office phone rang. Direct line which almost nobody has. "Dylan Reeve," the voice was older, rougher. "Eli speaking." "It's Eli Grant, your stepfather. We need to talk about a legal matter. It's urgent." I should have hung up. "What legal matter?" "It's Cassidy. He's been charged with embezzlement, federal charges. He could face 10 years in prison. We've been told you're one of the best white-collar defense attorneys in the region." The irony was so thick I could taste it. "How much did he steal?" Silence. $180,000. $180,000. I'd calculated once, late at night during my first year of law school, what my college education would have cost if I'd had normal parental support. Tuition, housing, food, books. Undergraduate and law school combined. $180,000. The universe has a dark sense of humor. That's a significant case, I said. My voice was professional, clinical. My standard rate is $500 per hour. A case of this complexity requires minimum 200 hours of work. That's a $100,000 retainer before I begin, plus additional fees as the case progresses. Dylan, we're family. We can't afford those rates. We need you to help us. Please, family. The word tasted like ash. We're not family, Eli. Family doesn't move their mistress into the house and kick out their stepson. Family doesn't choose real estate over relationships. That was a long time ago. Things are different now. Nothing's different. You need something from me, so suddenly I'm family. When I needed a bedroom, I was expendable. The equation hasn't changed. You just don't like being on the other side of it. Your mother wants you to help. She's been crying about this for days. My mother made her choices 10 years ago. I'm making mine now. This is Cassidy's life we're talking about. He made mistakes, but he doesn't deserve to go to prison. He stole $180,000 from his employer. There are consequences for that. Whether he deserves them or not isn't my problem to solve for free. I'm begging you. You can beg all you want. My rates don't change based on emotional appeals. If you want to hire me, send me the case files and a $100,000 retainer. If you can't afford that, the public defender's office handles these cases competently. We'll lose everything if he goes to prison. The shame alone. Shame. I almost laughed. You're worried about shame. Where was shame when you moved Holland into my mother's house? When you gave my bedroom to her son? That was complicated. No, it was simple. You wanted what you wanted more than you cared about what it cost me. Now Cassidy wants to avoid prison more than he cares about what it costs you. It's the same equation. You just taught him well. I hung up. Sat in my office with the city view and the mahogany furniture and the framed law degree. Everything I'd built without them. Everything they couldn't touch. My partner Jordan knocked on the door 30 minutes later. You okay? You've been staring at nothing for a while. My stepfamily just called. The son who took my bedroom embezzled $180,000 and they want me to defend him for free. Jesus. Jordan sat down. What did you tell them? $500 an hour, $100,000 retainer or public defender. That's going to burn bridges. The bridges burned 10 years ago. This is just acknowledging the ashes. Are you okay with that? Am I okay with it? I'm angry at how much it still hurts. Angry that part of me, the 17-year-old part, still wants them to choose me. Still wants my mother to fight for me the way she never did. But I'm also clear. I'm expensive because I'm good. I'm good because I had to be. They made me this person by abandoning me. They don't get to benefit from my success for free. Reddit, I genuinely don't know if I'm being reasonable or petty here. Part of me wants to take the case just to prove I can save someone they couldn't save without me. Part of me wants to watch them struggle with a public defender and face real consequences. And part of me is still that kid with garbage bags in the garage, trying to understand why he wasn't worth fighting for. Edit, to clarify on the living situation since people are asking, Eli and my mother are still legally married. Holland lives there as his partner. It's a polyamory situation that my mother didn't consent to but accepted because she was financially trapped. Yes, it's fucked up. Yes, I'm probably angrier at my mother than at Eli because she was supposed to protect me and she chose security instead. Edit 2. The embezzlement was from the family construction business that Cassidy was supposed to be running. He gambled it away covering losses from sports betting. Federal charges because it crossed state lines and involved tax fraud. They sent me the case files. 300 pages of evidence, forensic accounting reports, federal charging documents. I spent a weekend reviewing everything. Cassidy didn't just embezzle. He systematically looted Eli's construction company for 3 years. Started small, a few thousand here and there, covering personal expenses. Then bigger amounts. By year 3, he was transferring tens of thousands monthly to offshore sports betting sites. The federal prosecutor has an airtight case. Wire fraud across state lines, tax evasion, falsification of business records. This isn't going to trial. This is plea negotiation to minimize prison time. I called Eli back Monday morning, professional, clinical. I reviewed the case. Your son is going to prison. The evidence is overwhelming. Best case with excellent representation, he pleads to reduce charges and serves 3 to 5 years. Worst case, trial and conviction 8 to 10 years. Silence on the other end. But you can get him less time. A skilled attorney can negotiate a better plea deal, yes. Then you'll take it, for my standard rate, $100,000 retainer paid up front. We can't afford that, the business is hemorrhaging money, we might lose the house, we have nothing. Then I suggest the public defender's office. They handle these cases regularly. A public defender, Dylan, this is about family. No. This is about a client who needs legal representation and whether that client can afford my rates. If you can't, there are other options. You're really going to let him go to prison because we can't pay you. He's going to prison either way. The question is whether you pay for private representation or use the public option. That's your choice to make. The phone shifted. Holland's voice came on, high-pitched with panic. Dylan, please. I know you hate us. I know what happened was wrong, but Cassidy is my baby. He made mistakes, but he doesn't deserve to have his life destroyed. He stole $180,000. There are consequences. He was desperate. He had gambling debts. He committed multiple federal felonies over 3 years. That's not desperation. That's a pattern of criminal behavior. You were always so cold, even when you lived here. No empathy. I was cold because I had to be, because nobody in that house cared if I was warm. We gave you a place to live. You gave me a basement couch after 10 years in a bedroom. That's not generosity, that's cruelty disguised as compromise. She started crying. We'll find the money, we'll mortgage the house, we'll figure something out. Just say you'll take the case. Even if you scrape together the retainer, you can't afford my full fees. We're talking $150,000 minimum for proper representation. You don't have that. Then what are we supposed to do? The same thing I did at 17 when you moved into my house. Figure it out. I hung up. 3 days later, my mother called. First time in 10 years I'd heard her voice. Dylan, just my name. Like the 10 years of silence didn't exist. Like she could just pick up where we left off. What do you want? I need to talk to you about Cassidy, about what's happening. Then talk. Not over the phone. Can we meet, please? I'm begging you. Against every instinct, I agreed. Coffee shop near my office. Neutral territory, public space. She looked older. Grayer hair, deeper lines around her eyes and mouth. She'd lost weight. But her clothes were nice designer labels I recognized from my work with wealthy clients. Eli's money, probably. Or Holland's. Thank you for meeting me. She folded her hands on the table. I know you're angry. I'm not angry. Angry is an active emotion. I'm indifferent. She flinched. I deserve that. I deserve worse than that. But Dylan, please listen. Cassidy is going to prison. The business is collapsing. If we lose everything, I lose everything too. I have nowhere to go. You had nowhere to go 10 years ago either. You chose to stay. I had to stay. I had no money. You had a son. You chose the house over your son. I thought I was doing what was best for everyone except me. She started crying. Real tears this time, not the manipulation kind. I know I failed you. I know I should have fought for you. I was weak and scared and I made terrible choices. Is this the apology? Because it's about 10 years late and only happening because you need something from me. I'm apologizing because it's true, because I've lived with the guilt every single day, because I lost my son and I can't get those years back. You didn't lose me. You gave me away. There's a difference. What do you want from me? What can I possibly say or do to make this right? I looked at her. This woman who gave birth to me, raised me for 17 years, then stood in a hallway and said nothing while her husband kicked me out for his mistress's son. Nothing. You can't make it right. Some things don't get fixed. They just get survived. Then help us survive this. Please, help Cassidy. Help me. I'm begging you. Why should I? Because you're better than we are. Because you became someone incredible despite us, not because of us. Because you have the power to help and you're not cruel enough to watch us drown just to feel superior. It was a good argument, well crafted. She'd thought about it. If I help, it's not for you. It's not for Eli or Holland or Cassidy. It's because I believe everyone deserves adequate legal representation. But I won't do it for free. We can't afford your rates. Then I'll consult with the public defender. Give them advice that improves Cassidy's outcome. That's all I'm offering. That's more than we deserve. Yes, it is. She reached across the table for my hand. I pulled back. Dylan, after this is over, could we maybe try to rebuild? Could I be part of your life again? I don't know. Right now I don't have space for that. But someday, maybe someday I'll forgive you. But I'll never forget and I'll never trust you again. She nodded. That's fair. After she left, I sat there for another hour staring at my coffee, processing. Jordan found me in my office that evening. You met with your mother. How did you know? You have that look. The one that says someone from your past tried to guilt you and partially succeeded. I'm going to help them, not directly but through the public defender. Why? Because letting Cassidy get a harsher sentence than the evidence warrants makes me like them, someone who punishes people for existing wrong. I don't want to be that person. 2 days later, I called the public defender assigned to Cassidy's case. Amanda Archer, competent attorney in her early 40s. Ms. Archer, this is Dylan Reeve. I understand you're representing Cassidy Rhodes. I am. And I know you reviewed his case for potential representation. I did. I'd like to offer some consultation, off the record, attorney to attorney. Why would you do that? Because everyone deserves competent defense. Will you accept my help? Absolutely. I spent the next week working with Amanda, found weaknesses in the prosecution's timeline, found procedural errors in how evidence was collected, found enough reasonable doubt to force a better plea offer. You can get him down to 3 years if you challenge the evidence collection methods here and here, I told her. The forensic accountant access certain files without proper authorization. It won't dismiss the case, but it'll make the prosecutor nervous enough to negotiate. 3 years instead of 7, that's enormous. That's adequate representation. Thank you. I don't know why you're helping, but thank you. Bill it as pro bono consultation in your records. I want documentation that I provided market rate expertise without charging. She understood. I was helping without making it look like I was helping. The plea deal was negotiated 2 weeks later. 3 years federal prison, 5 years probation, full restitution. Cassidy starts his sentence next month. My mother sent me a handwritten letter. Thank you. You saved him 4 years of his life. I don't know how to repay you. I didn't respond, because this wasn't about them. This was about me proving I could help without being manipulated, that I could maintain professional ethics while protecting personal boundaries, that I could be better than they taught me to be. Edit, people asking why I helped at all, because the legal system should work fairly for everyone, even people I don't like. That's what separates justice from revenge. Cassidy started his sentence 4 weeks ago. The same week, Eli's construction business filed for bankruptcy. The same week my mother showed up at my apartment building. Security called me from the lobby. Mr. Reeve, there's a woman here claiming to be your mother. Should I send her up? I almost said no, should have said no. Give me 5 minutes, then send her up. She arrived with 2 suitcases and the exhausted look of someone who's been crying for days. I didn't invite her in. We stood in my doorway. What are you doing here? We lost the house. The bankruptcy took everything. Eli and Holland moved to a small apartment across town. There's only room for 2. And I have nowhere to go, Dylan. I have $3,000 in my checking account and a car that's 12 years old. I can't afford first and last month's rent on an apartment. I can't. So you came here. You're my son, I thought. I hoped you might let me stay here while I figure things out. I looked at her. This woman who stood silent while I was kicked out, who chose security over her child, who is now facing the exact situation she was so afraid of 10 years ago. No, Dylan, please. You had a son who needed help at 17. You chose differently. Now you need help and I'm choosing differently. It's the same equation. You just don't like being on this side of it. I was scared. I was 17. You were the adult. You were supposed to protect me. I made a mistake. You made a choice. A choice that saved you and sacrificed me. Now I'm making a choice that protects me. So you're just going to let me be homeless. You're not going to be homeless. You have options. There are women's shelters. There's assistance programs. There's your sister in Vermont who you haven't spoken to in 5 years but who might take you in. There's Eli and Holland who could make space if they wanted to. You have options. You just don't like any of them. Those aren't real options. They're exactly as real as the options you gave me at 17, basement couch or friend's charity. I took the friend's charity, you can do the same. She started crying. I'm your mother. You were my mother. Then you chose to be Eli's wife instead. That was your priority. Live with it. Dylan, I'm begging you. You taught me that begging doesn't work. You begged me to keep quiet about the affair. You begged me to understand why I had to give up my room. You begged me to have dinner with Holland and Cassidy and play happy family. Begging just makes the person doing it feel like they tried. It doesn't actually change anything. I have nowhere else to go. Then I guess you're about to learn what that feels like. The way I learned at 17. She stood there in my doorway, crying. Part of me wanted to let her in. The part that's still that kid who needed his mom, but the part that survived grew bigger. The part that learned to protect himself when nobody else would. You should go, Dylan. If you don't leave, I'll have security escort you out, and I'll add you to the restricted list so you can't come back. She left. I watched her walk to the elevator with her 2 suitcases, watched the doors close. Closed my own door and sat on my couch for an hour feeling nothing and everything at once. Jordan called that night. You okay? You missed our partnership meeting. My mother showed up. She's homeless. She wanted to move in with me. Jesus, what did you say? I said no. How do you feel about that? I don't know. Justified, guilty, empty, all of the above. You made the right choice. Then why does it feel terrible? Because you're human. Because setting boundaries with people who hurt you is supposed to feel hard. If it felt easy, you'd be as cold as they are. 3 days later, I got a call from my mother's sister in Vermont. My Aunt Corinne, who I haven't seen since I was 12. Dylan, this is your Aunt Corinne. I'm calling about your mother. Is she okay? She's living in her car. She showed up at my house last week asking to stay. I told her she could have the guest room for 1 month while she figures things out. She refused, said she'd rather live in her car than accept charity from family who abandoned her. The irony is incredible. She's not well, Dylan, mentally, I mean. She's having some kind of breakdown, won't eat, barely sleeps, just sits in her car in a Walmart parking lot. What do you want me to do about it? You're her son. I was her son. She gave that up when she chose a house over me. She made mistakes. She made choices. She's an adult. Let her live with the consequences. You really don't care if she ends up on the streets. I thought about it, really thought about it. I care, but not enough to sacrifice my peace for her comfort. She taught me that lesson herself. You've become hard. I became what I needed to become to survive what she allowed to happen to me. I hung up, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. My mother in her car, in a parking lot. The exact kind of instability she was so afraid of 10 years ago that she sacrificed her son to avoid it. She got exactly what she feared, and I got exactly what I built. The universe has a way of balancing accounts. Edit. Before anyone asks, no, I don't feel good about this. I feel like shit. But feeling like shit doesn't mean I made the wrong choice. Sometimes doing the right thing for yourself feels terrible because you've been trained to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. It's been a year since Cassidy went to prison. Time for closure on this whole mess. The aftermath was brutal. The business bankruptcy was just the beginning. Eli and Holland's relationship collapsed under the stress. They split up 8 months ago. Eli is living in a studio apartment, working hourly construction jobs at 54. Holland moved back to her hometown with family. Cassidy has 18 months left on his sentence. I heard through legal channels he's doing okay working in the prison library, taking correspondence courses, staying out of trouble. My mother spent 3 months in her car. Then she finally swallowed her pride and moved to Vermont with Aunt Corinne. She's working as a bookkeeper at a small firm there, living in Corinne's guest room, rebuilding slowly. I haven't spoken to any of them since that conversation in my doorway. But last month, something unexpected happened. I got a letter, prison postmark, Cassidy's handwriting. I debated for 3 days whether to open it. Finally did. Dylan, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect you to read this. But I needed to write it anyway. I took your room when I was 15. Moved into your space like it was always mine. Never once asked if you were okay. Never thought about what it meant that you had to sleep in a basement while I got your bedroom with my gaming setup. I thought I was entitled to it because my mom said so. Because Eli said so. Because nobody told me I wasn't. I stole $180,000 the same way. Thought I was entitled to it because it was family money and I was family. Thought I could take what I wanted because nobody ever taught me I couldn't. Prison teaches you about space, about how much you actually need, about how little you deserve just for existing. I have 6 feet by 8 feet here, a bunk bed, a desk bolted to the wall, a toilet with no privacy. It's the right amount of space for someone who took what didn't belong to him. You became a lawyer who defends people like me. That's either the most ironic thing in the world or the most compassionate. I think it's both. The public defender told me you helped her, that you gave advice that saved me 4 years. I don't know why you'd do that after what we did to you. Maybe you're just better than us. Maybe you believe in fairness even when it's not fair to you. I get out in 18 months. I'm not going to contact you. Not going to show up at your office or try to apologize in person or ask for anything. I'm just going to try to be different than I was. But I wanted you to know you were right about everything. And I'm sorry. Cassidy, I read it 3 times. Felt something crack in my chest. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just acknowledgement. The kid who took my room finally understood what rooms mean. The young man who stole from his family finally understood what theft costs. I folded the letter and put it in my desk drawer. Didn't respond. Jordan asked if I was going to write back. No, he needed to write it for himself. I don't need to forgive him for me. I'm already okay. And I am okay. I built a career defending people accused of financial crimes. I make good money doing work that matters. I sleep fine. I don't wake up angry anymore. The family that chose a house over me lost the house. The stepbrother who took my space is learning about space in prison. The mother who chose security over her son is living in her sister's guest room working for $45,000 a year. But their loss isn't my victory. Their suffering doesn't make me whole. What made me whole was building something they couldn't touch, a career they couldn't claim credit for, a life they couldn't infiltrate with their dysfunction. Last week, something else happened. I was at a legal conference when a young woman approached me. Law student, 2nd year, interested in white-collar defense. Mr. Reeve, can I ask you something? What made you choose this specialty? I could have given her the professional answer, the one about intellectual challenges and complex legal questions. Instead, I told her the truth. When I was 17, I learned that financial power determines who gets protected and who gets abandoned. I wanted to understand that power, to make sure everyone gets adequate representation regardless of what they can afford. So you defend people who committed financial crimes too. What? Give them a second chance. I defend them because the legal system is supposed to work fairly for everyone. Because even people who made terrible choices deserve someone in their corner who knows what they're doing. Because punishment should be proportional to the crime, not determined by who can afford the best lawyer. She thought about that. That's really principled. It's really personal, but that's what makes me good at it. After she walked away, Jordan found me at the bar. You told her the real story, part of it. You doing okay? With everything, I thought about the letter in my desk, about my mother in Vermont, about Cassidy in prison, about Eli in his studio apartment, about the house that doesn't exist anymore and the family that fell apart. Yeah, I'm okay. Better than okay. You sure? I helped Cassidy get a fair sentence, not because I forgive him, but because I believe in the legal system. I told my mother no when she needed help. Not because I hate her, but because I need to protect myself. I charged full rate when they asked for free work, not because I'm greedy, but because I'm worth it. Those are all good boundaries. They are, and I'm finally okay with having them. Because here's what I learned. You can't make people love you correctly. You can't sacrifice enough to earn conditional love. You can't fix people who broke you by breaking yourself more. All you can do is build a life where your worth isn't determined by people who couldn't see you clearly. I'm worth $500 an hour professionally, but my actual worth has nothing to do with that number. It's measured in the boundaries I maintain, the ethics I uphold, the life I built from garbage bags and basement couches. My stepfather moved his mistress into our house and gave her son my bedroom. My mother stood silent and chose security over her child. They called me family when it was convenient and abandoned me when it wasn't. Now they need legal expertise I won't give them for free. Now they need help I won't sacrifice myself to provide. Now they understand what it feels like to be on the other side of conditional love, and I understand what it means to finally be free. To everyone out there who's been told they're not family, who's been sacrificed for someone else's comfort, who's been kicked out of their own home by people who should have protected them, you don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them free labor. You don't owe them a relationship just because they decided they want one now. You owe yourself boundaries. You owe yourself protection. You owe yourself the right to build a life that doesn't include people who hurt you. My family lost everything. I built everything. Those two facts aren't connected. They're just two separate stories that happen to involve the same people. I'm not their redemption arc. I'm not proof they did anything right. I'm just proof that some people succeed not because of their family but in spite of them. And sometimes that's enough. Edit, people keep asking if I'll ever reconcile with my mother. Maybe, but not now. Not until I'm sure I'm doing it because I want to, not because I feel guilty. Guilt is a terrible foundation for relationships. Edit 2. For those asking about my career advice, find your motivation in something personal. I understand financial crimes because I understand what it's like to be powerless. That understanding makes me a better advocate. Use your pain to build something meaningful. Just don't let the pain define you forever. Edit 3. To everyone who thinks I'm cruel for not helping my mother, I gave her the same options she gave me. If that's cruel, take it up with her, not me. I'm just maintaining the precedent she established.